Well, welcome back to Toronto. You were here last year for the film festival. A little different film.
Yes.
Yeah, and so what's it like? What has it been like so far to immerse yourself into this Eclipse world?
It's kind of been a bit of a whirlwind, really, because it all happened so quickly. I auditioned in Sydney, flew to Vancouver, met David Slade, and then I think I had time to rush back, grab some clothes from Sydney, and then we started shooting again. So, I mean, I'm just really grateful that everyone I met was kind of really down to earth, and you know, I was kind of warmly welcomed into the Twilight family. So
yeah, no, you were telling me last time that you kind of got initiated because you had to play a Twilight board game. That's not fair. That's just not fair.
I know, especially with Ashley, Peter, and Kellen. You know, who know all the answers clearly. Yeah, I had a disadvantage without that.
You have to do some studying, my friend.
I know. I'll just be sitting at home with the Twilight board game, kind of plotting for revenge.
So, you know, I understand too on the set, I mean, there's always, fans trying to get a glimpse of what's going on, or, get a little bit of the storyline, or who's on set. Did you experience any kind of fan thing yet? Has it started for you?
I certainly haven't been mobbed.
Yet.
Because I'm not under the microscope in the same fashion that a lot of the cast are. Mm-hmm. But I have noticed that they're very patient, these fans, and it's kind of great that they're out there supporting the characters in these stories that are so beloved to them,
Yeah, your first big, American film. You did a lot of stuff in Australia. Was it a big difference for you, or was it just pretty well using the same acting muscles?
Well, every gig's kind of brings with it its challenges and. I mean, I was just kind of really focused on doing the best job I could do, so I didn't really notice a massive difference. Everyone was kind of really lovely, and I suppose the big difference is there's a lot more time. Mm-hmm. A lot of Australian films kind of shoot 4 or 5 weeks, and a second take is a kind of luxury. So it's sort of. Yeah, I can imagine, especially going into something like this. And was it hard for you to find your inner vampire? I mean, he's a badass. Well, I mean, there's no frame of reference. I don't know any vampires,
really?
Unfortunately. So I couldn't call them up and say, "Hey, listen."
Yeah, what do I do?
But I just had a lot of conversations with David Slade about this character and how complex he is, and there's this kind of Lady Macbeth kind of relationship that's occurring at the same time, and he's got his hands full, desperately trying to control this bloodthirsty clan of newborn vampires.
Right.
But one of the things we looked at is he's kind of had his humanity snatched from him, and as a result, he has this intense kind of hatred and jealousy of humanity, because that's what he's kind of been deprived of.
Right.
So there are I guess it's kind of really juicy material to have those complexities in there as well. Like, none of the characters are two-dimensional. There's always
That's true. And then you get to be manipulated by Bryce Dallas Howard. I don't think that's a rotten deal.
She's so manipulative, on and off the camera. I just
Well, it's great to have been able to work with her, I think. She's quite lovely.
She is so wonderful and so ridiculously talented and professional, and also just a really lovely person. And she works harder than anyone I've ever met in my life. She's really quite phenomenal. I've got nothing but great things to say about her.
I'm sure. She's just, I've met her so many times. She's just wonderful. She, were you into the Twilight series at all before you got started for this? Because what really kind of prompted you to audition? I mean, I know it's a big deal, but it had to have been the scariest audition of your life.
Well, I mean, I didn't have the lunchboxes or the pillowcases, but...
yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay, you got me.
You're a closet Twihard. He's coming out of the closet, people.
But I am a big fan now, because the books are so, kind of addictive, and they really, make you fall in love reading them. And I think the films do the same thing. But you're right. I wasn't really initiated into the kind of the Twilight universe, and the audition just kind of it just kind of came along. I mean, I've been back and forth to America and auditioning from Sydney and putting things on tape and sending them off into oblivion and
never knowing you're going to get that call.
Not knowing whose desk they land on or if anyone even watches them, you know.
Yeah.
So I read it and I was like, oh, I could actually do this, you know, and it's actually rare that something comes along where you're even right for it, you know. And I kind of felt vaguely right for it, so I really kind of gave it my best shot. And
oh, you did a great job. I thought Riley was a great character. I thought you did really good. Now, coming up next, Anonymous.
Anonymous, yes.
Can you tell me, now, come on, dude, Roland Emmerich?
I know,
wow.
I know. The guy's he's a visual genius and a kind of true storyteller and also an actor's director, you know. And I kind of get the impression that this was the kind of film that he's always wanted to make, that was really kind of close to his heart, which is kind of bizarre because it's a Shakespearean story that kind of contests the authorship of Shakespeare's plays, and it is amusing because while we were in Germany doing a film about Shakespeare, I think the Germans were in Britain doing a film about Goethe. So there was this weird kind of crossover. But it is a really interesting film, and it's a kind of thriller, you know, that is almost less about the authorship question and more about the relationship between art and politics. And I got to play this guy called the Earl of Southampton, who's kind of got long blonde flowing hair and really fights for what he believes in and is a kind of a patron of the theatre. So it's kind of nice to go from evil vampire to Elizabethan aristocrat.
Well, I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more of you. What a great cast. I mean, Vanessa Redgrave and etc.
I know,
wow.
David Thewlis and Risa Farnes. Yeah, so many amazing actors.
Well, I'm sure we will be seeing a lot more of you, but congratulations on this. You've done a fantastic job, and we look forward to talking to you lots more in the future.
Yeah.
And have a really good time tonight.
Yeah, thank you. I will.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks a lot.
Much.
Okay. Nice to see you again.
You too.